Hello, and welcome to the Integrative Health Convention 2019 online interviews. Today, we're going to find out more about mindfulness and the mind-body connection. And Jennie Thornton, who's going to be speaking at the Integrative Health Convention on the weekend of the 5th and the 6th of October 2019. This is Jennie Thornton. Welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
Hello, thank you. Thank you for having me, and I'm looking forward to it.
So should we start by letting our audience know a little bit more about yourself and what you're going to be bringing to the convention this October?
Okay, right. Well, I'm definitely bringing some sort of knowledge and information about the mind-body connection and about how important it is in relation to our sort of mental and physical health. Up until fairly recently, I think it was considered that the two were a completely separate entity. But then in therapeutic terms, in about 1965, it was discovered that really the correlation between the two, the mind and the body, work in tandem, which means that we need to sort of integrate the two together in order to get a really good physical and mental health level. So hopefully that's what I'm here to sort of discuss.
Super. And can you tell me a little bit about how you got interested in what you do and the story behind how you started doing what you do now?
Oh, right. Okay. Well, I think first of all, would you like a bit of a sort of background about myself personally?
Yes, please.
Would that help?
That
It would help,
yeah.
actually, because it's part and parcel of the thing. Throughout the whole of my sort of career, if you like, I've had the privilege and the pleasure of working with the human condition in many guises. So as a drama and English teacher, as a youth worker, as a complementary health practitioner, and as a mindfulness teacher and trainer, I've always been very, very intrigued with what makes people tick and the mind-body connection, really. I'm also incredibly passionate about education. And for the past 30 years, I've been in education, both in schools and beyond. And really the knowledge came very quickly that there's an awful lot of academic education out there, which is wonderful. However, in the mainstream, there's very, very little education that's given to anybody, let alone sort of youngsters who desperately need it, about how to sort of build and develop your own sort of resilience and, look after your own physical and mental health. And so my passion in education has really sort of flowered from that and my work with complementary health and especially with mindfulness. I work very often with a very lovely gentleman, Dr. Mark Chambers, and together through Resilience, which is the name of the company that we run through, we sort of help people learn all about how to incorporate mindfulness into their daily practices in order to give them this basic knowledge and understanding of how the mind and body connect and how we can sort of integrate the two so that we just develop a really good sense of well-being and physical and mental health. We're also really quite passionate, coming from both medical and teaching backgrounds, to give help to our professional colleagues, because we do notice that really, there's quite a lot of burnout and stress involved in both professions. And so we aim to bring, to help them to see how they can sort of have more fulfilled careers and help both their own health needs and those of the people that they very dutifully and lovingly serve. So I've always been absolutely intrigued with people. Comes with the profession, I imagine, and exactly what makes people tick. how I got into this was between about 11 and 12 years ago. I underwent myself a series of 3 major surgical ops. And at the end of the last one, I was still suffering with an ailment that after a lot of investigation and a lot of, very kind and caring attention that was given to it, I was finally told that really there was nothing else that medicine could offer me, particularly apart from simply being on pain relief, because it was for chronic pain. Actually, that was an epiphany moment. It was an epiphany moment for me, because I then instantly realised that actually maybe, just maybe, what I'd got wasn't so much medical, but it was a little bit more up here. And that epiphany moment, more or less instantly, helped both my physical and my mental health. And I think it was from there when I realised that a lot of the discomfort I was suffering was due to me, or my thinking, my processing, that I became very interested in sort of mindfulness and complementary health. And I've never looked back since, really, because it's a fascinating journey, and there's so much knowledge out there about the mind-body connection and how we can help ourselves and increase our resilience and feel better. But yeah, I'm sort of looking forward to eternal learning and eternal sort of going out there and helping both others, and ourselves, and our colleagues, and everybody else to obtain their optimum levels of health, really.
It's very interesting hearing about mindfulness. I've been practicing mindfulness for a while now, and you're absolutely right. Not only is it useful for the patient that you're teaching it with, it's also the practitioners themselves, because life is stressful, work is hard, and people are burning out now. So I think it's a very important, useful tool to integrate in everything that we do regularly.
Definitely, absolutely. I think a daily practice is so very, very important. And I don't know about yourself, possibly, I'm imagining this is probably how it works for you too, but I find that if ever I am too busy to do my mindfulness, which hopefully is hardly ever, that it doesn't take very long to miss it and to appreciate just exactly what it does for me.
Absolutely.
And how it does help. Including, apart from a sort of a calmer, freer mind, it's obviously, helping your body too, building your immune system and all the rest of it. I find one thing that intrigues me is that it does very quickly, is it reduces my sort of resting beats per minute heart rate, which is just amazing. So I think it's not to be underestimated, to be honest.
No, and something that's a very quick and simple technique that anyone can integrate into what they do regularly, daily. It's amazing.
Yes, it is. The thing about mindfulness, actually, interestingly, is that it is very simple. The theory behind the practice is very simple. I think when we sit actually to be mindful, very often we wonder quite why, because often the practice is not that simple. From the perspective that sort of each day is different and each day brings a sort of new awareness and new feelings to what we experience. And sometimes we think we're doing really well, and other times perhaps not quite so well. But I do really think it's totally invaluable.
And I think that's sometimes part of the challenge, is to convince people how simple it actually is. And when they realize how easy and quick the technique can be, and you only have to spend a few minutes a day doing it, and when they really get into it,
Yeah,
that's when the change actually really happens.
absolutely. And what I find awesome and amazing is the fact that really you only need, when you begin to look at the practice of mindfulness and to incorporate it into your daily life, it really only takes a week or so to really notice the difference in the way that you feel. Yeah, no, I think it's just
Yeah. No, I
but
absolutely agree with you.
yeah, I think the first thing actually that you need to, or that we need to sort of impart to people, is the fact that it's an awareness thing. It's very much an awareness thing. So it's not a thinking thing at all. It's a sort of a being aware, and I think that's quite alien to most people as an initial concept, which might, be the thing that perhaps inhibits some people being able to access it particularly well to begin with. But I think once that awareness comes, and I think once there is an awareness that we're aware of our mind and aware of our body rather than just thinking about our mind or thinking about our body, that's where the wonderful things happen, really.
Now, you're going to come to talk at the convention about using mindfulness to integrate mind and body. Can you tell us all a little bit more about what you're going to be talking to us about and what the audience is going to gain from coming to your lecture?
Okay, well, all right. So my own belief and the very extensive sort of body of scientific research that's out there, the backing of NICE, and more recently the government as well, sort of is telling us that actually to implement mindfulness into our daily practice is really going to be able to help us to sort of address this difficulty that we have with sort of mental health, and often with the mental health comes the physical health as well, which is part of the mind-body connection really that I want to be discussing. Going back to my last comment, it's all about creating an awareness and helping people to be aware rather than thinking, to appreciate the difference and to trust in themselves and to be able to listen to what the body is telling them. Also, I'd like to sort of impart just how I think from my own personal experience on several levels of just how the mind and body do work and influence one another. So, body talks to mind, mind talks to body, and so it goes. And I think that's a really crucial thing to appreciate and to integrate the two into a sort of a seamless whole. I know that my audience is going to be, full of professional people, so doctors, therapists, and I'd like to offer this to them really and say that, if they were to adopt it into their own daily practice, very much like yourself, I don't think it would take them very long before they themselves would be functioning at a higher level, which in turn would, make for more effective consultations and a much happier and a much more fulfilled working life, really. The approach is easy. I think the difficulty is that with the research that's out there, there's an awful lot of research from mindfulness in MBCT and mindfulness in MBSR, where the benefits of mindfulness when people are poorly is there and very obvious, and its value is obvious. I think what's much less obvious is if you're coming at it from a preventative point of view, because it's very difficult, and it's a challenge proving something that hasn't happened yet, but a well worthwhile thing to aim to do. So that's what I'd like to aim to do, really. I'd like to aim to say, because both Dr. Chambers, both Mark and myself do believe that mindfulness actually, we work on the premise it's prevention rather than cure, as opposed to sort of an intervention when people are already poorly. And I'd like to carry that message across, really, and say, come on. This very simple practice that could take you as little as 10 minutes a day might just change the whole face of your existence, really, with regards to creating a better physical and mental health.
I, for one, am very excited, and I'm looking forward to your talk on mindfulness, and I'm sure it will help even the people that are just attending the lecture are going to gain so much from listening to the techniques that you'll be sharing with us.
Yeah, I hope so. I definitely hope so.
Now, finally, I've got one last question that we're asking everyone. And
Okay.
as a therapist, as a teacher with years of experience under your belt, what do you think in particular is the key to healing in what you do?
Right, well, it's an interesting question. I mean, obviously, mindfulness is the healing key. However, I'm very, very passionate about it. Very passionate about education and imparting the knowledge, that I have about mindfulness. I participate in mindfulness every day, such as yourself. I understand the benefits, reap the benefits, and I'd like to think that as I, present myself, the fact that I practice what I preach, that is going, and that I care about myself. Hopefully, that caring will sort of make people think, oh, okay, that's the way for me too. So maybe that's what I'm bringing.
And in terms of the client, the patient themselves, in terms of making change in them, what do you think what makes the most difference?
The amount of compassion that one can bring to oneself, really, which then transfers, I think, beautifully out to the wider world. And that can often be a little bit of a learned thing.
Yeah.
So I'm here to offer it.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to speak to all of us. And thank you all for taking the time to watch and listen to this interview. Remember to get your tickets early now from our website by following the links below. Well, we're at the Integrative Health Convention at the Park Plaza, Victoria in London on the 5th and 6th of October 2019. You can use the discount code that we've got down here below, and we'll give you a 5% discount as a gift from us to you for sharing your time with us here today. Thank you, Jennie, for joining us today, and we'll be putting a link to your website, www.resilience.co.uk, which will be below this video as well. And we look forward to seeing all of you in October in London, where you'll meet myself, you'll meet Jennie, along with all the other speakers who are going to come and speak to us at the convention. Thank you very much.